The first year that I came to Auschwitz, we had a tour in the beginning, and there was an old gentleman who led our tour. He was born in the town of Auschwitz, so he was born here. His parents died at Auschwitz, and he was in Auschwitz for a while. And somebody asked him, were there birds here? Because we saw some birds flying around. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, the children of Auschwitz drew pictures. We have many pictures, drawings by the children that were in Auschwitz. In none of the pictures are there any birds. None of the pictures. He said, ladies and gentlemen, why do you think there were no birds in the pictures? And the reason is that the trees had no leaves. There was no grass. Why? Because the people that were here were starving. So they ate all of the leaves, and they ate all of the stalks of grass as soon as they started to come up. So the trees were completely bare. The ground was completely bare, and the birds didn't come.
Shema Yisrael Havaya Elohim Havaya Echad. Do it again.
I first came to Auschwitz 18 years ago, and Birkenau is so immense that I was overwhelmed by a feeling of spirits calling out to be remembered. I want to come back and sit here and bear witness to all of these spirits. I wanted to sit together with as many different types of people as I could gather, because Auschwitz was a place where the idea was to kill everyone that wasn't an Aryan. And that's what happened in the first retreat. We had many differences, and many different feelings came up. There were feelings of anger, feelings of guilt, feelings of denial. This has nothing to do with me. I have no connection. Many different feelings came up, and it took about 3-4 days. And after 3-4 days, we became a family with the different feelings. Each year we continued, because it was so powerful of a retreat for so many people. So the retreat itself kept changing in spirit, and over the years my connection kept changing, but the main connection that I didn't think I would have, but from the first retreat on, the connection that became so strong was I realized that Auschwitz was my teacher.
קוראים לי נדין, אני גרה בישראל ביישוב בשם נווה שלום. اسمي نادين, أنا عايشة بإسرائيل بواحة السلام.
Also, ich heiße Sebastian, komme aus Donaueschingen in Deutschland, das ist im Süden Deutschlands, Schwarzwald-Baar-Kreis.
All right, so my name is Josh Bassereer. This is my sister, Emily Bassereer. And we come from the United States. We grew up in a town called Keene, New Hampshire. We both, on our mother's side, our grandfather was in the concentration camps. And we never met him personally, but he was, I think, in Dachau.
Okay.
And then our grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. She was never in the camps, but she had to flee. She was from Poland. She had to go to all over Europe, really.
אז אני תמר, אני מישראל, ואני בת 17.
So, mam na imię Karolina, jestem z Polski, mieszkam w Warszawie. In that moment I just asked myself about my own responsibility. I mean, not for what happened, because I wasn't even born then, but for what could happen and for what is happening now around the world that is very similar to what happened in Auschwitz.
السلام عليكم. أنا اسمي بكر النقيب من اللد، فلسطيني عايش في إسرائيل.
What would do if I would be in the same situation as the victims or the victimizers, like the Germans, the Nazis, whatever. And this is an issue that is really concerned to me because I believe that there is something similar in the Middle East. It's not the same, it's totally not the same, but there's a lot of similar qualities.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I live in Warsaw.
קוראים לי נועם, אני גר במושב רגבה בישראל, בצפון.
Abbiamo letto i nomi, abbiamo meditato, vegetato, cantato nelle baracche. È veramente un modo di vivere Auschwitz, possiamo dire, anche se è strano da dire vivere Auschwitz, però è un modo diverso di stare qua.
Because it was just the first time we saw the barracks that still have the beds. Like, we've been in a lot of empty ones like this, but it was the first time we'd seen actually still together. Maybe it's just like, as a young woman and thinking about what it's like to be so stripped of your femininity and, you know, shaved and starved so you lose all your shape, and how hard it must have been, besides just how hard it was to survive for anyone here, but especially as a woman to feel like you've lost, you know, your own identity and sense of self so deeply. And
essere capaci di sorridere o di cantare come abbiamo fatto, non dico scherzare ma sorridere, sì, penso sia ancora più difficile che piangere, forse.
I'm here for, I think, my 9th time in this retreat, serving as the rabbi of this retreat. Some years ago I was sitting here in meditation and feeling we have to bring youth, we have to bring young people to this retreat to experience it, to experience Auschwitz in this way that the Zen peacemakers do it. I think we need to transform suffering and to learn from Auschwitz. The big lesson of Auschwitz is how to respect the differences between people and not to be afraid of the differences. Because Auschwitz is a place that was driven by fear. It was created by fear, driven by fear. Everybody here worked by fear. You know, the SS people worked by fear. The whole theory of the Nazis was a lot about fear. And fear creates violence. fear from the other, what the other might do to me, to my culture, to my... And then it creates a lot of violence. And the fear of the other makes Auschwitz to be like a place that was trying to make no otherness. Everybody needs to be the same. Auschwitz is a place that tries to make everything the same. So bringing young people here, for me, is like, this is the way to come. Not in your own group of same nation, but to come in a group that is multinational and to learn the differences and the different point of views and how the Holocaust is being seen by other people. Growing up as an Israeli, I knew nothing about how Polish people feel about the Holocaust. Growing up in Israel, the Holocaust was the Holocaust is ours, you know. It belongs to us. It's part of the narrative of Israel. And coming here, realizing that's not true. I mean, it's not the whole truth. There is the suffering of the Poles. There is the suffering of the Gypsies, the gay people, an unspoken still phenomena. And this is music, the birds, there's music of nature. I don't know how much was here, and I think in the days of Auschwitz there were no birds here because there was no grass, because people ate the grass. But now there is birds. And the sound of the door. This is all music.